Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And also want to say peace and blessings to the Ophel elect, giving this word in truth and in sincerity. I'm the brother Iwalum from the GMS West Palm Beach Camp, back with another lesson. Just want to do a quick lesson on this article dealing with the current situation economically here in Babylon the Great. It says Americans expected to set holiday spending record despite economic uncertainty. So as it's known, the economic situation here in America, it's not doing so great. People are living, pretty much paycheck to paycheck, living on the edge. But despite that, they're still, spending as if they had the money to spend, if you know what I'm saying. You would think that, they'd hold their money, and pretty much, save whatever they have to, survive out here. But, they, through these holidays, they're going and spending hundreds of dollars, on things that don't even matter. Thanksgiving just passed. They don't spend money for that. Christmas is coming up. They don't spend money on gifts, So it's at the end of the day, people are just doing things to pretty much stay out of touch with reality, because they want the Babylon that they once knew back, which is not coming back, okay? But it says, despite inflation and financial instability, American consumers are projected to spend more than ever late 2025, with the average holiday budget exceeding $1,000 per person, a 4% increase from 2024. So, it increased from, their spending increased from 4%, since 2024, showing you that as this economy declined, they're spending more. What shows you that, these Babylonians are not prudent. And the scripture says that in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 16, and verse 19, it says, matter of fact, we can start from verse 17, and it says, woe is me, who would deliver me in those days? And it's pretty much going into the times that we're living in right now, where troubles are happening. It's going to only increase. 18 says, the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? You see, the beginning of evils. And there are different things happening around the world in which we're not even, aware of, because it's not being reported on the news, but we know it's happening because of prophecy. All right. 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter, also goes into the signs of the end times, man. Okay. It says, verse 19, behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. You see, so this economic, instability, this economic woe, this is a plague that the Lord has sent. The inflation, the inflation happening right now, this is a plague that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai has sent. Verse 20 says, but for all these things they shall not turn away, but for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. You see, so they're not mindful, of the scourges, that the Lord is sending. This is a scourge. This is a whipping that the Lord is sending to Babylon. But still, they're looking for ways around it. Okay, it says affluent households drive spending growth due to strong investment returns and wage growth, while lower income families struggle with stagnant wages and rising costs for essentials like food, housing, and energy. So we're living in a time to where all you can buy, is food, water, and pay for your bills. You really can't do nothing as you once, wanted to. All right, and those that are, after they, do pay bills and whatever, they're left with little, and the little that they do have, they spend on bullshit. Whether it be, going on a trip or buying, new TVs, new beds, just things that are not necessities pretty much. By the time it's going to come to where your money is only going to be spent on what's needed and not what's wanted. Okay. It says, though inflation has cooled since 2022 peak, prices for groceries, rent, utilities, and fuel remain significantly higher than pre-pandemic levels, disproportionately impacting middle and lower income earners. Luxury brands thrive while discount chains and major retailers like Walmart and Target expand buy now, pay later options to cater to cash-strapped shoppers. E-commerce giants Amazon push early Black Friday deals. So Esau is getting a cracking out of this, man. The ones really benefiting from this inflation is really, the elite. Those that are in power, and then the billionaires. Because people are going to their corporate-owned shops. Walmart, Target, Amazon. When you think about it, this is really the system that Esau, is building up, has built up for the MOTB, because these are going to be the only places, places like these are going to be the only places to get your goods at, like Walmart, because Walmart is all around the world. Target, that's all around the world. Amazon, all around the world. They got warehouses everywhere, man. So, this is where it's headed. It says credit card debt has surpassed $1 trillion nationwide, raising concerns about financial strain in 2026. If interest rates stay high, highlighting the stark contrast between record spending and worsening inequality. So people are just, cashing out. All right. It says, as the holiday season kicks off with Thanksgiving, American consumers are projected to spend more than ever despite mounting economic concerns. According to the National Retail Federation, the average per-person holiday budget for late 2025 is expected to surpass $1,000, marking a 4% increase from 2024. However, behind these headline-grabbing figures lies a stark divide. Affluent household continues to splurge while lower-income families grapple with stagnant or shrinking budgets and amid persistent inflation and financial instability. And when you think about it, this is really, if you can receive it, this is talking about Israelites, because Israelites are really low-income families, so-called blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. And Jake celebrate these wicked feast days, more than, I'm not going to say more than Esau, but they go hard, these, during the holiday season. Jake go hard, man. All right? Let's get Isaiah 55. It's going to get a lot worse than, what's going on right now. The hyperinflation going to kick in, and then people going to start weeping, okay? Isaiah 55 and verse 6, it says, seek ye the Lord while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his way, and the unrighteous man his thoughts. And let him return unto the Lord, and he will have mercy upon him, and to our power, for he will abundantly pardon. So it says, seek ye the Lord while he may be found, right? And call ye upon him while he is near. You gotta seek Yahweh Shem Yahushua right now, because, when this economy collapse, that new system come in, you're gonna have to take that device, in your hand, that CHIP in your hand, to pretty much, get around in this society, in which, in the book of Revelation, the 14th chapter, it talks about the judgment for taking that 14 and 9. It talks about the judgment for taking, the chip, man. So we're commanded to not take that chip. You rather have, as it says, how those that don't take it is going to be beheaded. You rather take being beheaded than taking that thing, because the wrath of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, is going to be gruesome. It says, the NRF's data reveals a broader trend of rising consumer spending across seasonal events from Halloween to Mother's Day and Valentine's Day. Yet these averages obscure the deepening disparities. Wealthier Americans, buoyed by strong investment returns and wage growth in high-paying sectors, are driving much of the increase. Meanwhile, middle and lower income households face tighter budgets due to elevated food, housing, and energy costs. But that's pretty much where I'm going to end it at. Matter of fact, we can read right here, because everything has to do with exports, imports. That's the word for me, imports. And as that's getting expensive, the retailers, the shop owners, they're gonna raise their prices. Therefore causing inflation. So your local neighborhood, corner store, a bag of chips is gonna be maybe $5 now, man, $10. Okay, why? Because they're gonna have a hard time trying to get that same brand of chips to that store, so they're gonna raise the prices. It says major retailers are adapting to the bifurcated spending landscape. Luxury brands reporting strong demand, while discount chains emphasize promotions and layaway programs. Walmart and Target have expanded buy now, pay later options, anticipating cash-strapped shoppers. See, so this shows, the fact that they got to do buy now, pay later, that shows that the current situation here in America. Look, you ain't got no money right now, just buy right now and just pay later. They paying later on groceries, man. Just think about that. And then in 2 days, you're going to need more groceries than the ones that you bought the day before, the 2 days before, you haven't finished paying off. You see? So that's how they got you in debt. This holiday season encapsulates the contradictions of the current U.S. economy, record spending alongside deepening inequality. While some households celebrate with lavish purchases, others are cutting back, prioritizing necessities over gifts. As the Federal Reserve walks a tightrope between inflation control and economic growth, the divide between Americans' haves and have-nots grows ever more pronounced, a reality no amount of holiday cheer can mask. So you do got people out there, all right, putting their necessities over their wants, so therefore they're not out there, spending on the holidays. But then you got the majority of the people, going Christmas shopping, they don't go New Year shopping, because Esau got it set up where pretty much around this time of year, there's so much deals going on, so people just spend, and people just buying new TVs, throwing their old TVs out. And the old TVs may not have had a problem, but the fact that they got a new TV for a good deal, hey, they got that one, I don't need the old one, throw it away. You see, this is America. All right, read the book of Revelation. This is the whore that rideth upon the beast. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse 1. It says, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them." All right, remember the Lord right now, before the evil days come. Before, Jacob's trouble come, before they shut the society down. Remember the Lord, know the Lord, because when it all goes down, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to shut his ministry down. His prophets, his word is not going to be, easily accessible no more. So those that are searching the Lord right now, they're going to, have this truth when it all goes down. Verse 2 says, "While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain, in the day when the keepers of the houses shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened." And it's talking about, this current economy, because the grinding is going to cease, man. All right? Ain't going to be no work here in Egypt. Ain't going to be no waking up every day going to work for the devil and then coming back home, going to sleep and doing the same thing over and over again. It's not going to be none of that, So that's pretty much the point. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem Rakakwadash, and double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to those for elect, hearing this word in truth and in sincerity. Until next time, I say shalom.